Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to another Reviews by Hunter, and hope you enjoyed your JJK Thursday. I just had a busy week, so I'm just getting to it right now. But nonetheless, guys, what a freaking awesome episode, man. What an awesome episode, honestly, from like start to finish. And we'll get into just how well this episode was received in the community. But first, I gotta say, this episode was pure eye candy. This was a beautifully animated Mappa episode, like the rent was due type of episode, man. And it just seems like anytime Yuta is on screen, I think he's one of their favorite characters because they just go all out for his scenes, man. But we start off with Yuta killing the cockroach cursed spirit while protecting some non-sorcerer civilians, but then he sends them back in because well, stuff's about to pop off. So, Ishigori is one of the sorcerers that I had mentioned from my last video that got introduced at the end there. They had that stalemate going on with some pretty strong sorcerers in the Sendai colony. And Ishigori is the type that just wants to fight strong opponents, it seems like, to feel satisfied, or the way he puts it, fulfilled. He like compares fighting to desserts. Like, he talks about how he's never been like fully satisfied and he wants to eat until he's full, which I always honestly love these types of characters that just their only motivation is I just want to fight. I'm so strong that it's boring fighting like weak opponents. I want to fight the strongest opponents out there. And he grew on me as this episode progressed through. So we have Yuta fighting kind of a 2-on-1, but not really. Like, they're both kind of trying to fight Yuta individually. The Uro, I think her name's Uro, and she uses some type of wind-based or sky-based curse technique where she's able to bend it to her will. And then he's also fighting Ishigori, who is able to blast cursed energy like out of his, like in a hole in like his little pompadour hairstyle going on, and his cursed energy output is the highest, I believe they said. I think maybe other than Yuta, or he has more than Yuta, I can't remember, but he has a lot. So this fight is just awesome. It just looks beautiful. Every single movement feels accounted for. Like, no frame was wasted throughout this whole thing. It was really fun to watch. And then Yuta eventually puts on this ring that basically buffs him and allows him to manifest Rika completely, gain access to Rika's cursed energy, and use of his cursed technique, which is copy. Now, this buff, while he's wearing the ring, he remains connected to Rika for 5 minutes. So he has 5 minutes to get the job done. And the first thing he does is use, I think it's Inamaki's ability, Cursed Speech, and he goes, "Don't move." I freaking love that ability in JJK, man. If I could only have one ability from this show, it would be Cursed Speech. I think it's so sick. But, and then apparently we get like this text graphic that pops up talking about the Fujiwara clan. Uro seems to be really upset with the idea that Yuta may be a part of this clan. Apparently they're like very powerful and they have their own squad of assassins. It says, and I quote, "The Sun, Moon, and Star Squad was the Fujiwara clan's personal squad of assassins. We lived in darkness and served with selfless devotion. We were even forbidden from having our own names. Yet, that man granted me a name, so he could execute me instead of his crime of slaying his own kin." So that was the text graphic that popped up. Apparently there is some history with Yuta's ancestors and Uro. They got some bad blood going on. Ishigori, this is where, oh my god. So other than this three-way fight already being badass, like, and they get pissed off at each other, like Ishigori would get pissed off at Uro for interrupting because he's like, "Oh man, like, Yuta, you're so strong, like, let's do this." But then she would interfere, and then like it was interesting that the way that this fight kind of went down. But then Ishigori begins like pounding his chest, creating craters in the ground, and I'm like, oh, something's about to go down. All three sorcerers at the same time. Domain expansion. However, they don't actually get to fully use their domain expansion's ability, nor do we hear the full names of their domain expansions because Kurokoshi, the cockroach that Yuta had killed from the previous episode, was freaking still alive. And he used some ability that I guess kept him alive because Jujutsu Kaisen, and he shattered the barrier that was created by all three domains. So they just expended all of that cursed energy to create their domain expansions, didn't get to use them, and so now all of their techniques are burnt out. Bro, oh my god, I gotta talk about how badass how the colors, the animation, when they all three popped their domain expansion, the poses, it was so freaking sick, dude. Oh my god. I was screaming and jumping up and down like a little kid watching this episode. Everything was so fun, fast-paced, chaotic. I was not expecting a three-way domain expansion. It was absolutely insane. Between three of these egotistical sorcerers, I guarantee you, all three of them believe that they are the strongest in that fight. I know for a fact Ishigori does, and I think Yuta also is like, because it might have been this episode that he was talking about how he wasn't going to let Gojo down by having him kill his best friend again, and that he wants to obtain 400 points on its own. And man, Yuta is always walking around looking like all depressed with bags under his eyes. This man's just on a mission. Not even, dude, he's a kid. He's a freaking kid, but he's so damn strong. And he has such a respect for Gojo that he's just like, I'm going to get this done no matter what it takes. Oh, this was just so awesome, dude. Straight out of like what you would dreaming up about anime scenes in your head as a kid. But I digress. So, with all of their techniques burnt out, the one with the most cursed energy output, Ishigori, used Granite Blast, which is where he blasts this big like blue wave out of his head, to take out Uro, who also loses an arm from the cockroach. But then Ishigori, with Granite Blast, kills Kurokoshi, from what it seems like, again. This fight is ridiculous, bro. And so, both Yuta and Ishigori release blasts of cursed energy. And then, so, remember how I said I was wondering, why hasn't the opening theme for this episode played yet? Like, it's been 5 minutes and I don't think I heard the opening theme. Did I miss it? Well, Yuta and Ishigori, both of their cursed energy blasts, as they clash, the opening theme for this freaking season starts playing right on beat. It was so sick, bro. And then the opening theme keeps going while they're fighting, and it's so freaking sick. Ishigori thinks that he's won because he thinks Yuta's technique hasn't recovered yet. But the narrator says, but it has, because he's Yuta. And so, right as his 5-minute timer's up, right, with the ring so that he could bring out his technique and his copy, it's up. Rika smashes just like a heavy blow down on Ishigori's skull. Then, because now the 5 minutes is up, Yuta and Ishigori just start throwing hands, and the fight choreography during this was absolutely banging. Oh my god, dude. This episode had, oh my god, this might be my new favorite episode. I say it almost every week. We know this, but Jujutsu Kaisen just keeps raising the bar. This might have been my favorite episode of the entire season. Ishigori and Yuta start throwing hands. It looks absolutely amazing. And then Yuta uses a combination of Uro's technique to send Ishigori's own Granite Blast back at him down from the sky, defeating him. And then Ishigori thanks Yuta while smiling, because this man has just been enjoying himself the whole time like a kid in a candy shop. And he says, thank you, Akatsu Yuta, I'm full. And then he passes out. Of course, he wakes up a little bit later and realizes Yuta hasn't killed off him or the other one. He asks for his points, gives it to him. Yuta, by the end of this, now has 190 points. Oh my god. My official rating for this episode, personal rating, is a 10 out of 10. I have no notes. This was fun from start to finish. The use of the opening theme to be used during that clash was absolutely awesome. The animation from start to finish, frame to frame, was just impeccably done, man. Impeccably done. Now, why is it Sorry about that. Cut off for a second there. But anyways, now, I just loved how, this episode was a don't blink or you're gonna miss something cool, man. I think Yuta is a badass character. I don't know how the community overall feels about it yet. But upon further research, guys, this episode is one of 4 animes to receive a 9.9 out of 10 rating on IMDb. Those other animes include My Hero Academia from Season 8, Episode 8, One Piece, Episode 1136. I don't think I'm caught up to that yet. Solo Leveling, Season 2, Episode 13. Dang. And Dragon Ball Daima, which I haven't gotten into yet, Episode 19. Those were the 4 previous ones. And so now JJK joins that group of being rated basically a near perfect episode, which is outstanding, man. I think it deserves it. I really do. I think it's one of the best animated episodes in a show that is already highly praised for its animation in general. I don't know how you could critique this one. This was crazy, bro. Sendai Colony is not to be messed with, apparently, because stuff is popping off, bro. It's interesting that Yuta leaves them alive, because now what do their characters do moving forward? Do they ally themselves with our group, with our protagonists, or go off and cause their own chaos? Is the cockroach actually still dead? Like, oh my god. But I feel like I've covered just about everything I wanted to say about this episode. This was a joy to watch, man. This was a joy to watch. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next JJK Thursday episode. I'm super excited for what they have in store for us, and take care.